Hello and welcome to my review of the 2018 film Annihilation, directed by Alex Garland and starring Natalie Portman. Today I'm in my son Nathan's bedroom because there is kind of a military sort of feel to this movie, so I thought it'd be appropriate. So it's kind of a weird kind of mashup of genres, this movie, horror and sci-fi mainly. The plot, so basically there's this kind of small meteorite carrying this alien entity that crash lands on Earth, and it crash lands into this lighthouse in the middle of this national park. The lighthouse stays standing somehow, and the meteor goes to the bottom of this lighthouse, and this alien entity kind of emanates this force field outwards from the lighthouse in all directions, creating its own kind of territory. And it does this slowly, and by the time the movie starts, it's been doing this for 3 years already, and it's just starting to reach the sort of outer boundaries of the national park. So it's quite a slow process, and the rest of the world isn't really aware of it yet because the military is trying to cover up that this is happening. But as one sort of military personnel says at the start of the movie, if this keeps going and we don't find a way to stop it, then eventually it'll cover the whole world. And the problem is that humans can't actually exist inside the territory, this ever-expanding thing, because every soldier who's gone into it to try and investigate and possibly shut it down has never come back. And the one soldier who did manage to escape had sort of multiple organ failure and memory loss. When I say force field, I don't mean like the kind of hard dome in Stephen King's novel. It's more like a kind of thin membrane ectoplasm thing that you can actually walk through. So they've tried sending a few soldiers in. I'm not sure what national park this lighthouse is meant to be in, by the way. I was curious. I spent a couple of days cycling through this complete national parks book because I'm a big researcher when it comes to reviews, and like for days on end I was like that, pouring through trying to find a national park with the lighthouse in, because like to do my research. But no, I didn't. So they send soldiers in and it's not working. Only one's come back and he was severely hurt. So they try sending in some female scientists with various skill sets. So they've tried weapons and force, and now they're going to send in some brains and expertise to maybe try and figure out what's going on inside this place that way. So they send in a few different people. One of them's a biologist, a something elseologist, Scientologist, probably not actually her Scientologist. Lots of people with ologist at the end of their names. One of them's Natalie Portman. Her character is called Lena, and she has a bit of a journey just to get to this point, but I won't go into that part of the story. I'll let you discover that part. And so at the point of the story where these women go into the alien territory, that's where the main thrust of the film actually begins. I've only just covered the first 10-15 minutes actually, so at this point I won't go into too much more of the story in sort of specifics, but the alien has a power to sort of affect its territory, the DNA of its territory, somehow, just with thought, so that the trees and plants start to distort and become weird and more alien-like, and any animals who just happen to live in the national park get mutated and more dangerous. It can affect any humans who go in there, obviously, because they never come back. It affects human physiology and psychology. So it's obviously an extremely dangerous place with everything getting affected by this alien. So when we embark on this journey, what we get in the film is a really broad mixture of horror. There's body horror, there's paranoia within the group, there's obviously these creatures running around, there's the threat from the alien itself. They find a video camera with some weird stuff on it from when soldiers have previously come through. It's so kind of broad, all the different threats that come from all angles, and it's really, really good. And the special effects are very good. I saw this film on Netflix, and I thought it was a Netflix original for some reason. But I found out after the movie that this was actually a Paramount film that cost about 40 million, and I'm not surprised because this alien territory that created on camera, it almost looks like something out of Avatar with that world Pandora. It's really, really good, very well filmed. The ending is really, really good. It's a completely wacky ending. Every now and again you get a horror film with just this zany bonkers ending, like Midsummer or the one in the Suspiria remake, and this is one of those where you just kind of like, that is some weird stuff. So yeah, I mean, that doesn't necessarily make the film great, but I'm just saying it's certainly a film where you'll come away and think, well, whatever else I thought of that movie, that ending was extremely weird, kind of cool. Maybe it's almost psychedelic, like it's a really, can't even go into it without giving anything away about that. But so, if I had to say one big criticism about the movie, it would be the fact that there's a lot of flashbacks to earlier in Lena's life before she goes to the national park. Like she had problems with her husband, she had an affair. There's all this kind of home drama that the writers feel like we need to know to develop her character, but I kind of think it's unnecessary. I could have easily just enjoyed following her journey and learning about her through the main film rather than all these flashbacks. But I kind of feel like, probably because it had Natalie Portman in it and they were trying to make it more than just a horror film, they tried to expand it into an almost 2-hour film with not just the horror and sci-fi elements but drama as well. I think that's what they were going for, but I just think it was unnecessary. I mean, Natalie Portman's very, very good in the movie, she always is. Tessa Thompson's in this film. I've seen her in Thor Ragnarok like 3 times. I've seen that movie and I still didn't recognise her in this one. I think it's because she's playing like a mathematician with glasses on and it just didn't hit home that it was her. Jennifer Jason Leigh is one of the another one of the group. I saw her only a year ago in The Hateful Eight and I didn't recognise her either. It's kind of just, duh, James. So it's a very well acted film. I'm not going to say it's like a hidden gem that should have done brilliantly at the box office and didn't. It's okay. It's certainly memorable. It's very, very visual. It's an absolute visual feast. So I guess it's time to give my rating. The Midnight Woodsman is going to bring his review axe down. I've got a new system for this. So first of all, here's the axe coming down, and let's see what it's produced. I'm gonna have to get a proper axe or something. Does that look pathetic? But anyway, I've got a rating thing, and I'm going to give it 3.5 dripping axes. Okay, so that's out of 5, by the way, not 10. Now, you know what? I think a year from now, once this system is ingrained into the hearts and minds of people on the internet, I think people are going to forget all about Rotten Tomatoes, and this will become the domineering rating system in all cinema. I think people are going to be, when people tell someone about a film at work, I think the first response is going to be, well, how many dripping axes did it get? That's what I think is going to happen. So keep your eye on that. But this is the first one today, right here and now. 3.5 dripping axes for Annihilation. So that's the movie. I wouldn't exactly say go out and buy it unless you're a real sci-fi nut, which is sort of the dominant genre of all those in the film. But certainly, if you've got a subscription to Netflix, it's definitely worth a watch. It's a really good film. So that's all for today. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.